Hey guys, welcome to the video. I'll give you in this video 20 tips about your Hawaii cruise on Norwegian that will enhance your trip and make life easier on the ship and off the ship and before you leave. I did another video, this one here in the background, that explains what to do on the islands and gives a lot of great tips there, but this one's more focused on just making life easier as you cruise and as you go about the islands. I'll have the complete list at the end of the video, so feel free to fast forward if you just want to see it. But if you want to hear more detail around each item, stay tuned. So first of all, make sure you do all the check-in items online on the Norwegian website well in advance before your trip, such as print off your luggage tags, check in, and just browsing that website. There's a lot of good information and FAQs that will help your trip. Alright, next you want to make sure you make your dinner reservations well in advance, also on the Norwegian website. The more high demand and fancy restaurants require reservations, so you'll need to do those in order to guarantee a seat there. And they're worth it, so make sure you do that well in advance. As your trip gets closer and closer, you'll see emails from Norwegian about upgrading your stateroom, unless you already have a very high-end stateroom. I had an inside stateroom with my wife, and we got emails almost every other week, it seemed, to upgrade your stateroom. And what that is you can bid, and if there's rooms available on Norwegian, and if your bid is high enough compared to other guests' bids, your stateroom will be upgraded to a more high-end stateroom. So our ship was mostly full, so we didn't get upgraded. We put about $150 as a bid to upgrade to the next stateroom, but we didn't get it. So we did go around Christmas though, which is probably more busy. Also, you'll hear about CruiseNext deposits before and during your cruise, and this is where you can put money down on a future cruise with Norwegian. In return, Norwegian will give you onboard credit to spend at shopping, at the alcohol bar, also on excursions. But for the excursions, you have to purchase the CruiseNext vouchers on the ship. So you can't buy an excursion beforehand, then purchase the CruiseNext vouchers, and then put that money that they give you towards the excursions that you bought. You have to be on board, buy CruiseNext, then you can put that money towards excursions that you buy on board. So what I recommend doing there is purchasing the excursions you really want before your trip, making sure you have a spot there because they do fill up. And then on the ship, if you really want to cruise again, and you know you will, you can put down these deposits and book some more excursions and get that credit from Norwegian, so basically get your excursions free. Alright, you don't have to stay on the ship at night when it's docked. So some ports will, the ship will be there for 2 nights. If you wanted, you could go all the way across the island, spend a night in a hotel somewhere exotic of your choosing, and then later go back to the ship before it departs. So something to keep in mind. When you get on the ship, they'll give you a cruise card, and this cruise card looks kind of just like an ID. And this is what you'll use to check out and check back in from the ship, also check in and out of your room, and pay for things on board. So you'll link a credit card with that. And this card you'll present, you'll slide it through a little machine that is automated, and it'll know when you leave and when you come back. You'll also present your ID, your driver's license, when you come back to the ship, so you want to make sure you always have those 2 things wherever you go, especially when you leave the ship. Alright, after we got our cruise card, we were told that our stateroom would be ready for us within a few hours, and that they would announce it, because we'd given them our luggage to bring up to our stateroom, which you'll most likely do. And we just checked after about a half hour and it was ready, and our card worked, it unlocked our room. So you don't need to hang around for too long before your room is ready, and we didn't even hear any announcements for it. You can just go check and it might be ready for you. Internet is pricey on the ship, so keep that in mind. You can use the Norwegian app while you're on the ship, though for free. You just connect to the ship Wi-Fi. Alright, cell service is actually pretty good on the ship at ports on the upper levels of the ship. So I didn't feel the need to purchase internet because most of the time the ship was away from port was at night after all the evening activities when you were sleeping. So you really don't need internet unless you want to do some heavy browsing or blogging or something like that at night. Otherwise, on the islands, you've got pretty good cell service as well. At least I did with Verizon. I could do whatever I needed to on the upper levels and on the islands. In the staterooms, there are TVs, which I wasn't aware of, and they actually have movie rentals. They're like $10 though, but there's some pretty new releases if you're interested in that, if you want to kill some time or something. And also they have a variety of channels that talk about shore excursions, information about the ship, different activities, reruns of events from previous nights, and it's actually very informative. So if you've got some time to burn, check out the TV in your stateroom and you'll be enlightened there. I recommend bringing binoculars if you're a sightseer, especially for the Nepali coast. That's on your last day of the cruise. You cruise along the Nepali coast, which is beautiful. I brought binoculars and it was wonderful because I could see into the mountains, I could see the wildlife a bit better and into the beaches. And we also saw a lot of whale spouts. And at Kona, we saw some spinner dolphins just around the ship there, which were really cool, but the ship's very tall, so unless you've got some binoculars, you won't be able to see these things very well. There are things to do all day on the ship. So if you want to just spend the day at the ship, you could. If you are feeling tired or not feeling too well, you don't want to go out on the island, they have activities all day. There are art classes, art auctions, live music, many forms of entertainment. They had a comedian when we went, also musicals and a variety of game shows. The bigger events are in the evenings, so if you want to catch those, book an early dinner or around 5 or 6, and those main events usually start after that. And so plenty to do on the ship. Some events on the ship are classified as adult, so keep that in mind. Maybe not necessarily children friendly. However, I appreciated this. They didn't allow swearing, and our comedian actually said this, that when he signed his contract, there was a clause that said he couldn't swear and he couldn't use vulgarity. So a lot of the humor came from innuendos, which he used left and right. So some cruises, they're a lot more free with their language. Maybe that's your thing. But at least on this cruise, maybe it's Norwegian wide, the entertainment didn't allow swearing. Water is expensive on the ship, as you might have guessed. It's a commodity similar to Wi-Fi, right? It's scarce, so they charge a lot. They won't let you fill up your water bottles at the fountain machines. We tried it once, and someone came over and said, no, you can't do that. There's some sort of reasoning they gave us, which obviously is probably bogus, and they just want you to buy their water. But keep that in mind. What I recommend doing is buying some big 2-liter water bottles at an ABC store at port. Buying a couple of those, you can bring those on the ship, no problem. And they have a water fountain in the gym on the ship. And nobody was monitoring that, so if you want to just go to the gym and fill up all the water bottles you want. The pools and topside booths on the ship are pretty empty during the day. And so if you want to hit the pool and you're not quite ready to leave the ship yet, or you got back early and it's still sunny out, go hit the pool in the midday and you could be the only one there. We hit it 2 days actually when we had come back to the ship early for a bit, and we were the only ones in the pool. They have several hot tubs as well. Those get pretty crowded. But there's some sun decks, and those get pretty crowded as well, towards the evenings. And some booths which have roofs and are nice. You can have some shade and a little privacy, but those fill up quick as well. So if you want to claim one of those, claim them early. If you get seasick, bring some Dramamine. My wife and I were surprised we didn't get seasick at all. There was one night that was a little rough. It was the most rough night on the cruise, and all night we were back and forth. You could really feel it, but still we didn't get sick, just a little bit queasy. But if you get seasick or you think you might, just bring some Dramamine and that'll help a lot. This next one we were really surprised at, because with 2,000 people on the ship, you'd think that Uber and Lyft would be really highly used and hardly available. But every time we got off the ship or wanted to get back to the ship or go around on the islands, at least in the populated areas, it took less than 5 minutes to get Uber or Lyft to get where we were going. And literally less than 5 minutes. When we disembarked in Honolulu, for example, we were standing at port, less than 5 minutes, there was our Uber driver to take us to the airport. So all the ports are similar, and it's great. Definitely easy to use. If you don't want to get a rental, just go Uber and Lyft. It was great. That said, in general, things felt a little slower in Hawaii. I don't know if that's part of the culture or part of tourism perhaps, but there were a few places we went to get tickets or a rental car, and things just weren't moving along very efficiently. We're not used to waiting like that where we're from. Things seem to go pretty efficiently, but it was just a little slower at times. So not all places were like that, but some were. So just be prepared for that. You might have to be a little patient waiting in line. If you can hold off to make purchases of souvenirs and gifts and goodies and things like that on the ship, towards the end of the ship, the last few days, they start having sales, big sales, 50% off type sales. So if you want to get a shirt at that shop on the ship or something like that, or some magnets, wait till the last 2 days and there will be great sales and you get it for a lot cheaper. The same applies for photos, which there are many photo opportunities that the ship does for you. They take professional photos, such as with the captain, or you can do family portraits on the ship as well, and they'll take those for you. They also have sales for those towards the end of the ship because they want people to buy them, So buy them towards the end of the ship, end of the cruise rather, not the beginning. All right, disembarking, your last day on the ship. If you can carry your luggage, pull your luggage out, then you don't have to get a tag for a certain exit time from the ship. You just pull your luggage with you and leave anytime before, I think it was 9 a.m., and just go at your own pace before then and just leave. You don't have to wait for your luggage to be ready and carried off the ship for you. All right, guys, that was it. I hope these 20 tips have helped, and best of luck with your cruise. We loved our cruise. Hope you will as well. There's so much to do, and just keep in mind all these tips, and you'll be great. You'll have a great time. All right, see you next time.